Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for joining me with the Relatable Radio Hour with me, Dr. Green. I must be doing something okay if you all are joining and watching this again. So thank you so very much for coming on. We're going to have a great discussion tonight because it was something that came into me that made me think of this particular topic. And I think it's something that everybody can relate to. And I'm hoping that you all get these nuggets so that you can apply it to your life and that you can make your life the best life. Um, I was thinking about the concept of going into a new season, and sometimes in life, we love something one day, we love going to it. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a career, a certain place, people, friends, those type of things. But you enter into a new space, a new season where you've entered into and those things that you once loved and you once gravitated towards, they really don't interest you anymore. And as I was thinking about this and going to my mental Rolodex, thinking about this, and if you don't know what a Rolodex is, I'm not old, you just don't know things. Um, I was thinking about this, and it was a person, a guy that I've known for a very long time that I think would be great for this conversation because he's actually kind of dealing with this right now. And I thought it'd be great to bring him into this fold and to have this conversation with you. I've known him for quite some time. I believe it's the fourth grade. We're going to tap into that in just a second. But I want to introduce to you all a great friend of mine, Mr. Jared Wright, who is an insurance adjuster. Jared, thank you so very much for coming, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be here. It's
Glad
cool.
to have you.
Yeah.
Glad to have you, man. So it was fourth grade, right? I'm thinking it was fourth grade.
It was fourth grade. It was
Yeah,
fourth grade
yeah.
because Miss Hodge was a big influence.
She.
I first learned how to be stingy with snacks because of
Oh
Miss
man,
Hodge. Like,
Jared, this is a show. We gotta, kind of gotta keep it to a box. But yeah, he's right. He's not
all right,
wrong.
okay, cool.
We can't get into that right now.
Okay, we'll get that later.
But But Jared, like I said, I've known you for quite some time. I would love for you just to introduce yourself to everybody and just kind of tell us what's gotten you here to this point.
Well, I'm a native Jacksonian, a tiger from J. Well, I guess I'm a tiger from JSU. I can say that everybody kind of is. From Jackson, Mississippi. I moved out to Texas for the same kind of weather but better opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And Texas hasn't disappointed so far. So, you know, love home, but I think this is home now for real. So,
And you've been there for quite some time, and you've been really enjoying the atmosphere and everything that the Texas life can bring. But as I've known you, you've always and just to kind of have you just to give some background,
mm,
what was the field that you kind of really started in? Because I know right now you're in the insurance adjusting field,
mhm.
but prior to that, like what were you doing? What kind of work were you doing?
I was in automobile sales from the time I was 19 for the better part, I guess the last 18 years. That's what I've been doing. I took a small break for about 3 or 4 years and sold furniture. So, but I mean, from the time my dad had that small car lot on Palmyra, from working that, doing that, coming up in the whole process from from washing cars to moving them around
Hmm.
to learning how to talk to customers to
Hmm.
doing everything on the back end, just that, and just really doing that for the last, let's just say 15 years.
Hmm.
And it's just been a journey because anybody that worked in the business, they'll tell you, it's not for the weak at all. Like
Hmm.
it's not like you on the streets like selling drugs or nothing, but it's like you selling something close to drugs, and it's like all kind of things in between that happen. You see crazy stuff,
Mm.
but it's legal. So I
Right.
guess.
And that's good. I'm glad that you're doing legal things on the show. So I would not bring you on the show if you were not doing legal things. I just want to put that disclaimer out there,
Gotcha.
everybody. But I mean, to be honest with you, and again, everyone, I've known him for quite some time. Uh, you were, really good at selling. You've been a good seller for a very long time. I mean, before you, well, I think after you were working with your dad,
Hmm.
you had started working in a different capacities as far as sales is concerned. But it seems
Yeah.
as though you have been really good at the sales market.
Mm.
Why do you think you were so intrigued with the world of sales? Like, what drew you to it?
You know, the main reason I can say that I actually got into sales, period, was just coming up around my dad. You know,
Mhm.
those who know him, you know, he a character, but the man was a salesman. Like I would see him talk to people. Like you know, when you walking around as a kid and you falling around your parents, you're gonna pick up stuff. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of just the subtleties of talking with people and just engaging with people, I was seeing that kind of stuff all like from the time I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. So you kind of get a knack for not being afraid necessarily to talk to people and just get to know them. So seeing that and just being around that every day, damn near, so it's just like it kind of rubbed off on me. So and that exciting lifestyle that it kind of gives, like it's the thing about sales that people are gonna tell you, it's an adrenaline rush because you are meeting a stranger and trying to like get something out of them. You know what I mean? And it's you don't know where it's gonna go sometimes. You don't know what somebody going through, but they will walk in that door or walk on your lot, and sometimes they will confide in you. Sometimes you make a friend out of nowhere, or an acquaintance for life, or a connect somebody like that. You're gonna meet somebody because at the end of the day, you know, we all people, and we just want to sometimes get out and talk and relate to other people that we don't know. But you kind of run up on any situation, and you got to try to monetize that situation some kind of way. Figure out a way I can get my bread in the end, but yeah, it's kind of manipulative, but at the same time, everybody's using everybody for something in a way. You know, let's just be real about it. I feel like that is kind of like it's known. Like I know this guy gonna try to sell me something because he want to feed his family, and he know I don't really want to buy nothing because I just want to keep what I got. But hell, I might have to spend some money. I hope he don't take it from me. Most of the time, people feel like I don't be trying to take nothing from them. So that's how it goes.
So it sounds like the idea of kind of giving people what they want and kind of just sound it kind of sounds like the excitement of the job kind of led
Yeah.
you into the sales
Oh,
market.
man, it's when you it's almost like when you hear if you're a business owner, it's almost like when you hear that register ching.
Mm,
You just like, I bet I done just paid my mortgage. I done just paid this bill. I done just bought this vacation. Like when you hear that ching, it's like everything that you was working for a little while just got rewarded in that instance. But
mm,
sometimes it's few and far between when you get that. And never knowing when it's gonna come. You don't know when $1 million is gonna walk in your lap and just be like, hey, I'm just gonna give you some money in the business and sales, and just that excitement of not knowing, it's addictive sometimes, and the high you get from selling something, it's what keeps people in it.
mm-hmm,
People tell you, from anybody in the car business, they'll tell you it stays in you when you're good at it because
mm-hmm,
it's a part of your, it's just this adrenaline rush that you can get from doing it.
mm-hmm.
But it's just, yeah, it's that kind of thing.
So, I mean, something that we've talked about on this show is the fact that I think Johnny actually talked about this on the time when I had him on the show about
Joe.
the yeah, exactly, the transferable skills. Being
Mm.
able to take what you've learned in one capacity and using it in another field. Um, you started out in car sales and then
Hmm.
you started doing different types of sales. I believe working at a furniture place, Muskelli's.
Yes.
Um, how was that experience different as it relates to the sales market?
You know what? I'll say this. For every job you have, there's some things that you take from it that you love and you hate. One thing I will not take away from the Skellies is they will welcome you in and try to make you feel like family. And we don't all have some of the best families. Some people got cousins they can't stand, and you got other little beefs within the family, but it's family, right? Skelly's was the first place I worked at that actually was like, all right, we're gonna try to make everybody family. Like, you know, it might not work, but we're gonna try. And nobody else I've ever worked for or worked at has ever made me feel like that. It was just like, hey, you here to do a job, low key, so I don't really care. Make me some money and then you can stay. But um in relating to just some I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm gonna get back to when you said transferring skills. But with Muskelly, it was about actually seeing that I'm putting something inside these people's homes. Like selling cars is one thing. People get rid of cars sometimes, you know, every couple of years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of us, buying the house or home that we want, the property we want, is like one of those things we might not do maybe a couple more times in our life. Like this is me, this is my home, this is my castle, right? And to know that you coming in there with me and you're trying to decorate your castle, make your environment, your home more comfortable to some degree. Some people really don't care, you know, just give me a couch or a bed, I'm good. But some people really like to take pride in them, take pride in their home, and they want to feel like their castle is comfortable for them. And you contributing to that in a way, you know. And I guarantee you, a lot of people gonna say, I remember when I bought this couch. I remember when I did, you know what I'm saying, with furniture. It's like a piece of your home that you get attached to. So it was really that was sometimes a reward more so than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it felt a little more rewarding in the furniture business morally, but
Mm-hmm.
it was fast paced. You know, it was you got to make your money. You know,
Mm-hmm.
some people they don't like you. They just want to spend money. Sometimes they love you and you don't understand what they want, but you're trying and you don't make it work. But it's just it's fast paced. It's sales. You gotta you two, three, four people come in. Sometimes you don't have enough. Hey, I gotta make sure everybody that came in here feel good, like I care about what they want. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's customer service. It's hustle. It's being able to relate to people. It's about learning systems, paying attention to money, being fiscally responsible with other people's money. It's just all that you're dealing with, all that kind of stuff, all at once. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna meet somebody and then have their credit card in your hand 10 minutes later, and they give you directions to their house. Like you got to make sure that you know what I'm saying. It's everything tight because if something go down, the police go come after you.
Oh, wow.
That's extreme. That's extreme. But hey, you know,
Did that ever happen?
yeah, it happened one time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you about it. It happened one time.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't have nothing to do with it. You
Okay.
know, they were there. I told the
Mm-hmm.
police, like, I don't know, but that was there. You see it on camera if y'all need to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's enough.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
listening.
Well, that's another conversation. So, you were in the sales capacity in Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually left the furniture sales, and
Mm-hmm.
then you went into kind of like the big leap into uh, working at a car dealership, like a big one, a really
Right.
big one. Talk to us a little bit about the transition from that position working at the furniture place and then going into the actual sales of car sales, because that was a completely different beast. I remember that being a very big leap for you at that time.
I'm gonna tell you something that kind of will make it sum it up for you. All right. Picture yourself as a little younger. You know, you may be about 8, 9, and you go to somebody's house and they got the little cute house dogs. You know, they're making a little noise. They bark is definitely worse than they bite. And then imagine going to your uncle or your grandma's house and they got that big mean dog in the backyard, and you got to go back there and you don't want to, but you
Right.
there's a bunch of them dogs back there, so you got to just suck it up and play with them dogs,
Yeah.
you know, and act like you ain't scared. And then you learn eventually, all right, I ain't scared of no street dogs. You know what I'm saying? I can handle that. That's kind of what it's like. It's like in furniture, you're dealing with the house dogs. In car sales, you're dealing with the dogs that might just bite your ass and send you to the hospital. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
wow.
So it's that kind of mentality. And it was learning that for real, learning that on a business level. You know, not like nothing I say is relating to, well, I guess not really relating to street life. I ain't do that kind of life, but I'm saying like in the most corporate sense, that's what it was like.
Mm.
House dogs, big dogs.
Hmm. So how was it for you, like those first few years and getting into that field?
Man, you get humbled. You get humbled real quick because that was probably one of the first times in my life I worked for another grown up and they straight up cussed me out like I was their kid or something.
Wow.
I'm talking about it was like you MF or you, and I'm like at first it catch you off guard because it's like, you ain't never really been talked to like that. I'm 20 something years old. You never been talked to like wait a minute, hold on, you mad about this? Like you cussing me out, you dog cussing me like this, and not knowing that that's normal.
Hmm.
That's like, yeah, it happens. And you see other people seeing you getting like damn near punked by your manager, and you got to do something. You ain't never think when you was working at the shoe store that your manager was gonna punk you over some shoes. But you
Wow.
gotta kind of get over that fear of going back at them. Like, yeah, you might be a manager, but you still a man. I'm still a man. So you're not gonna just, even if we don't have no, altercation right then, we're gonna have words later out in front of
Hmm.
everybody where everybody ain't, looking.
Hmm.
You want to respect somebody's position, but not to the point where you just let them dog cuss you for
Hmm.
no reason when you feel like when you ain't did nothing, right? But in the car
Hmm.
business, you had that kind of stuff. It makes you tough. It makes you
Mm.
on a professional level. It makes you tough, and you kind of can judge and assess a little bit more of that kind of thing. It
Hmm.
makes you more responsible because it feels like the stakes are higher in a weird way.
Hmm.
Um,
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but it's challenging in that both of them they test like all of your other senses and nuances of what you know. They all do that. They all kind of in their own way make you draw from all your experiences with your friends, family, what you see in the world, and you have to put that together because you have to be able to in a short period of time relate to somebody quick. So, and with the car sales, it was like it was just, even though the stakes were lower, maybe in reality they just felt like they were higher. It was more intense.
Hmm.
It really it prepares you and tests you in a lot of different ways. I'll tell you that.
Hmm. So, I mean, how long would you say you were in that space as a car salesman?
Oh, maybe the first couple of years, really,
Okay.
because when you're young in a job, sometimes you'll let stuff go that you probably shouldn't. But it didn't take me long to understand what to let stuff go, and when to carry it on, and really stand up
Hmm.
for yourself in a way. So
Hmm.
it couple years.
Hmm. So I can imagine that being really kind of stressful to be put in a place like that and having to learn the odds and ends of selling and all the other added nuances as you said. Um, when did you? Because this happens. This is kind of what this conversation is kind of predicated on. But when did you start to kind of feel that this was not what you wanted to be doing for the rest of your career? When did that take
Ooh.
place for you?
It sneaks up on you gradually, to be honest with you. Um, when and I'll say it like this, it might be a little bit of a long answer, but it first hit me like in a sense of this is great, but I don't know. I don't think this is it. Like I hear people say, "Oh, you can do this for 25 years." I know people that did this, they got two houses here,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear stories like that, and then you still see that.
Mm-hmm.
But it hit me in this point when I realized this might not be it. Like I don't want to get it this way. I don't want to make it to my goal doing this no more.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I start to feel like I wasn't as present for my family, and that I was missing, not just missing out on parties and going out hanging with the boy. Nothing like that. It was like with my kids and my mother and my sisters, my dad, just missing those times where I know I shouldn't be at work. This is something that I really want to be present for, like a Thanksgiving, a first day of school for my nephew or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just when you start to see that the time is going by and these people are getting older and older and older, and at some point real soon some of them might not be here no more, and you missing that because you chasing a dollar this way. That got implanted into me probably right around the age of 30, 32, I guess. Maybe that's a little late, but when you're trying to get it, you just got one goal in mind. You one track minded. I want to get it. I want to make it. And so you kind of make sacrifices in certain areas that you can justify in your mind because I'm doing this so I can put my family in a better position, right? But it gets to a point to where, to borrow a line from somebody, the juice ain't worth the squeeze no more. You know what I mean? You just got to figure out another way because you're really hurting yourself and sacrificing what you really want out of life doing this. And that gradually came until about COVID, where I was just really at my wit's end because things were going in one direction and then it seemed like the world just stopped and everything stopped for a lot of people. We just became, in a lot of ways, we were able to bond with one another. I actually made some really strong bonds during that point in time in my life because of that. But the flip side was that the world stopped and it seemed like opportunity was not knocking right now. And you don't know when and it's like things were getting so difficult financially that I was looking for a way out. Like it can't be this. I can't sit back and wait on this unemployment. Like I can't do that. Like what are we doing? And my sisters and my mom, they've been living out here for quite some time. So, and I knew where the money. That's what makes it even worse. I knew where the money was at, but I was delaying going in my mind because, oh, this is home. Oh, this is, I don't want to be away. Yeah, I want to make it here. And I was damning myself because while it may be the right place for some people, it takes you leaving and going somewhere different for another person to make it and to feel like they comfortable in their spirit and their heart, right? And I was one of those people and didn't realize it. So it got to that point in COVID where it was just like, I can't do this. And it was literally from, I was working at Conn's Furniture. And I'm just playing. I like y'all. I was working at Conn's Furniture, and it was just as stupid because they had us working in there in the midst of COVID. Like Donald Trump was on TV telling people to inject themselves with bleach so they can cure it, and everybody was like, "We all just gonna die." And anybody that sneeze on me, we gonna die. And we in public selling people furniture. Like, oh, you coming here coughing? It's all good. You want to see this washer and dryer? Like,
wow.
And you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It went from me being on the schedule for 1 week, and the next week I just packed my stuff and just, I'm gone. Hey mom, I'm gonna be there for like maybe a couple of months at the house. I just need a room. I'm gonna get it. I'm tired, and that's all it took. And then I know I'm like, I'm doing great. Financially, everything is going the way I wanted to, and credit getting better and all that kind of everything just across the board. And then you get to the point where it's like, all right, but what's the next step? Because I ain't got to worry about this being it. I know there's more here. I know there's different opportunities here. So, it just made sense to me. It was just somebody a customer put it on my mind, because that's what she did. She was in there in the dealership, chilling in her PJs, buying a $75,000 truck, just sitting there. I don't even know if she brushed her teeth. She might have.
Wow.
She was just in there on her laptop. Hold on, let me do this for about 10 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Okay, that's it. Cool. Okay, what you about to do? I'm about to go to the house, take a nap. Probably go get me some cupcakes with my kids, and then I'm gonna go home and I'm like, and I'm sitting here stressed and worried about somebody coming through the door spending money. You sitting there buying a $75,000 truck, and I'm just what? I'm waiting on money to come in, or am I gonna go get? Am I gonna go get it? Like I'm gonna go get it, and that's what happened. And she put me in touch with somebody that got some.
So, I mean, the pandemic was not bad for everybody. It was a good opportunity for a lot of people to get that epiphany that sounds like you got as well.
Jeff Bezos ate.
Mm,
All
yes.
right, go ahead though.
So that's good. But like, what was it that this person like helped you kind of discover that made you want to look into it and gravitate into this new season? Like, what was it? What tell us a little bit about that conversation
If I'm
because you
being
that's kind of what you said.
if
Yeah.
I'm being 100 and completely honest with you, it was that I realized that I had more education and probably even, you know, I don't want to say intelligent because that sounds mean to say somebody is not as smart as you, right? But I felt like my education level was a lot higher than hers.
Mm.
But she was living the life I wanted. That I
Oh,
so
wow.
desperately was like, I would love to be able to make my own schedule, move around, go visit my kids, be here for that, go somewhere with my mom and do. I would love to be able to do that and not be tethered to a location and miss
Mm-hmm.
out on these experiences, these experiences with other people that you love and care for. And I just realized, man, there's no reason I shouldn't be doing that. There's no reason I shouldn't have this
Mm-hmm.
option for real.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to her. She was cool as she can be. I mean, just she overshared, and then she basically was
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess we made a connection. And she felt like I'm gonna put you on. I'm on. Yeah, it's not gonna take you this long to do it. It's gonna take you, this long. But you got to do this. You got to take this step. You got to take this step, and it might be a little rough, but you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I got right to it. Who I need to pay? Where? How much? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What I need to do? I need to
So
buy
that
this book. Okay.
so that in itself was kind of a journey to prepare for the new season.
Mhm.
So it sounds like at this point in time in your career, we're at the pandemic. You're discovering that this sales thing is not what it's cracked up to be
Right.
anymore. You're tired of it.
Right.
You have this conversation with this woman who's doing well, kind of living the life, as you said, living the life that you should be living for various reasons.
Right.
Talk to us about preparing for this new season that
Okay.
you were wanting to have and aspiring to start living.
So I'm gonna tell you this. It's like, and I use a lot of analogies, so y'all might have to bear with me a little bit. So, but I'm gonna say this: making this switch in a lot of ways, it's like you preparing to jump across a gorge or a valley that's this big, and you know it's gonna take some strength training, some exercising, some stretching to make this jump. You know, And if you don't train and get ready to make this jump, when you get ready to make that leap from one field to the next, one job to the next, one career to the next, really, you might fall flat. You might not make it. So a lot of people are so gifted that they don't have to physically train. They're athletes from the time they're born until they're 60 years old. They can run a mile and like that. It ain't nothing to them. You know, Same as going for the people mentally. Some people can just adapt real quick and I can pick up on this thing over here fast. I can do that. I can do three things at once. Those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not in shape and ready to make that jump, you're not gonna make it. And when you're doing this, you have to kind of mentally prepare yourself. You have to understand, okay, what's next? What is my life going to really look like? What am I prepared to lose and gain? You have to start thinking, making moves financially as far as where I'm gonna put some money, investing. You have to start really living your life like you're about to take that next step because part of this is just believing that you can do it too. So if you're not living like you want to do it, then you probably won't. Because very few people go cold turkey. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. Let me just pick up a book and start reading. Yeah, you got some geniuses, but it's people that's gonna have to do some other things. Like I'm gonna have to get back in I'm gonna train my brain with some calculus or I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna take a night class to prepare for this. I'm not just gonna take the LSAT and pass it. And you got to mentally prepare. You got to get your mind ready. You got to get your finances ready. You got to get everything ready as though you're about to make that jump. And when you do, a lot of times you make it, you know. So I feel like that's important for a lot of people out there that they overlook. You know, I'm not gonna say they don't know about it, they don't think it, they overlook it like it ain't gonna be that hard. But then when you got that job to where I can travel, I got benefits, they give me a company credit card. But then the flying on the jets every 2-3 times a week stresses you out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to think about stuff like that. Like, you want this, but do you really want it? Like, are you prepared for these kinds of issues that's going to come? Because every situation has its issues. Nobody has a perfect situation they jump into next, you know?
That's right.
You know, you going from medical school to you doing your residency, now you're a doctor, but then now you think, I'm going to have it great. You know, I'm going to be a doctor. You know, I got a plan to pay back my student loans if I have to do that. This is going to be great. But then you get there and you got a director of the hospital that just don't like you and treat you bad, and everybody don't want you coming for their position because they know you a little bit better. Professional jealousies and stuff like that. You got to think about stuff like that because it's just trading one stress for the next.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to be stress free. Well, I know
Mm-hmm.
it's not stress free, like, oh, I'm smoking weed like Bob Marley all the time. No, I'm just like, you know, just moderately and just severely stressed. No, just much less stressed.
Yeah.
And you got to mentally prepare. And then once you do, I feel like that makes it easier for you to make that next step, make that leap too.
So talk to us a little bit about how you mentally prepared for this new challenge, because
So you're never gonna turn off that sales gene, really. I feel like
mm-hmm.
I think anybody that's in sales like that knows you're never gonna turn it off. But you have to start gradually untraining your brain to respond in certain situations like this. You know what I'm tell you? I'm gonna tell you what it was like. Even though this probably would have made me a better salesman in some situations, I have to listen a whole lot more and talk less. And for a salesperson, you feel like because you've touched so many different people, you absorb so much random knowledge about things, you know, like from dealing with people that sold drugs to a CEO that owns 88 AT&T stores. And you get to know and you pull so much information. Like, you see that, you observing them in their most stressful time periods because they are buying a car and people get stressed. And you see these people, how they behave, how they react, you know, the temperament, and it's like it's strange. We all just alike, right? We all just alike. Like, he gets stressed and he'll show it differently, but you see it. You see what makes people
Mm-hmm.
stressed. You see what makes people tick on the inside, right? But you have to turn all that stuff off in a way. You have to learn to know that I can be compassionate with this person, knowing that there's nothing I'm going to get paid for if they are satisfied. Like with that insurance business, what I'm going to be doing, I'm looking out for the company. Yeah, I know, to make sure that the loss these people have sustained should be covered. But at the same time, my income is secured whether or not the customer is happy or not.
Mm-hmm.
And taking that people pleasing mode away from myself
Mm-hmm.
is something that I've been trying to make sure I get around. Taking myself out of the business of trying to instantly read a person like, I wonder how much money they're making and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, you as a
Yeah.
salesperson, you always prospecting.
Mm.
Always prospecting. At the gas station at 2 a.m, you prospecting. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. At church on Sunday, you prospecting. You see, and it's not because you just want to be nosy, you know, but no, you're thinking, could I sell this person something and there's something they need and I can make money off of it? Can I? Let me talk to them and see. And it's once you turn that off, and I'm learning now, I'm pretty far in that, turning that off, I feel like I can just be a little more genuine. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I feel like I can be open. So that's a challenge of mine that I face in my field, what I'm doing. And I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that some people can relate. Like, if you go from a police officer to, you know, a certified cowboy. You know, you have to turn off certain things like, you're not always looking for a perpetrator. But you dealing with other kind of issues, like, what I'm saying, you doing a lot of things. You managing your land, you're dealing with with livestock and things like that. You're not necessarily having to train yourself to look over your shoulder because you doing patrol and somebody might got a gun and do something crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different. You have to unlearn certain things when you're making a transition. And anybody that does that, and success, bro, it's hard to untrain your brain when you've been doing something for so long. But people that do that, I'm happy for them because it ain't. I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing it ain't easy. It's
Mm.
not easy.
Well, that segues perfectly into kind of asking this question, because it sounds like, shaking off the inner salesman is a really hard thing to do. So you are now an insurance adjuster,
Yeah.
as we talked about. Talk to us a little bit about what that job looks like, and how is it different than, you've just shared a big one, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that you have a solidified salary at this point. But
Right.
how is it different than being a salesman at this point for you?
Well, because I feel like the main difference is, like I'll touch on it again, trying to make sure you do your job and make sure that you are following rules. And it doesn't matter if you like the outcome or not. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, I don't have to sugarcoat. I don't have to play the nice guy. I don't have to be a
mhm,
mediator. I'm coming out there and I can just like A, B, C. Okay, E's not here. Nope. All right, buddy. I'm sorry. You this ain't, we can't cover this. So if you don't like it, there's somebody else you can holler at them, and they may make me change my mind. They may not, but that's what I feel like right now. So have a good day.
mhm,
It's like I can take the emotion out of doing business. I can truly separate one from the other. But doing this is going to be a lot more like that. It's going to be a lot more straightforward business. It's going
mm,
to be a lot more checks and balances in a different way. Like, and I don't want to get on here and sound like a company man, but I guess technically that's what I'm going to be. But it's like it shifts your how your piece looks.
mm,
You know what I mean? It goes from I don't work 6 days this week. I done sold a lot of cars, but I'm beat. I'm tired. Let me sleep Saturday night and let me try to relax a little Sunday. And I get ready for Monday again. Your
mhm,
piece is narrowed down to that short little window of 9.5 hours that you can make of it. Or you got about a good 36 hours based, of okay, my relaxation looks like this instead of that. Like I
mhm,
like this. Like my piece looks like this. I don't have to stress about getting to my place of zen because I
mhm.
got time.
Right.
I'll be off work at 4:30 today instead of
Mm.
instead of man, I hope this woman come through and buy this Cadillac
Oh,
because
wow.
I'm tired, man. It's 8 o'clock and we close in 10 minutes and well 30 minutes, but we shutting down in 10 minutes and I don't feel like being here, man. I was supposed to go to the movies with my wife or whatever, and yeah, they just came back. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can finish up this deal. Yeah, I know. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'll make it up to you. All right. And then you leave and work, and then he have to say, "So what happened? It's 10:30.
Mhm.
What happened? Man, they ain't buy nothing,
Wow.
bro."
That sounds extremely stressful.
Oh no, it is. It's like I'm trying, bro. But it's hard, man.
Mm.
It's like you have to really, really sacrifice those kind of things sometimes. And that is I'm not really embellishing, but that is very close to a situation that happened. Like I can tell you from personal experience. You know what I
Wow.
mean? and no other line of work really, well, maybe, but I want a line of work that's different where I ain't just, you know, I'm sitting there sacrificing time and ain't no money being made, right? Like with a doctor, sometimes, yeah, your surgery gonna last a little bit longer, but you know this person got their insurance, so you gonna get your money. Yeah, it took 4 hours instead of two. You getting home a little late, but ain't nothing worse than when you sacrifice time with your family and then you still go home and ain't made nothing. Like
Mm.
that. Ooh,
Mm.
what?
So it sounds like that was reason enough to go into
Yes,
something differently
yes,
altogether.
man. It's frustrating to no end, and the longer you deal with those constant things, the more and more it wears on you, and that's what was happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was dealing with stuff like that more and more and more and more, and maybe it wasn't as frequent, but it's like they piled up enough to where it was just like I don't ever want to have this happen again. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Absolutely.
tired of this. Like this is not the way to live. I shouldn't be sitting here doing this and people still hate me. You
Right.
know, you can
Right.
take 15,000 off. What?
Wow.
No.
That's,
Whatever, you lying. Don't go back to him, girl. He a snake.
that's crazy.
You know, but
That's crazy. So I guess you're essentially saying that the new job is the exact opposite of all of that.
oh, I'm definitely hopeful for that. So I'm new in this. You know what I mean? It's I'm a bit of a novice. I'm not too proudful to admit that, but there are a lot of relatable skills,
Mm-hmm.
that I can channel, that I can use to do this job well.
Mm-hmm.
So some issues, some things, I thought about was the travel, was the checks and balances and professional jealousy and things like that. So yeah, I thought about those things. So it just prepares you in a different way. But you have to apply a lot of your patience sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Oh no, you answered it. I just
Oh,
asked you, what were some of the things that were different about this new job than your old career.
right.
Um, so now that I've kind of clarified the question, I'll ask this one on top of it. So, what are you excited about entering into this new season, this new job, this new career,
I'm
learning things behind it? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about the decreased stress level.
Mhm. Yeah,
That,
to say
that's
the
that's really
least.
not that's kind of on there, but no. I'm excited about being able to spend more time with my kids. Like that's really what's got me excited about it. You know, my oldest is going to college, and that's going to be worth celebrating and doing. And I wasn't going to miss it, obviously, for nothing. But making this change ensures that I can always make sure that I'll never have that happen again. I'll never be able to miss nothing else.
Mhm.
That's exciting to me. That's that's really what I'm saying that I wanted this to be and give me the opportunity to do. Everything else is secondary. The money, I'm glad I'll be making, the same or more money in a different way, but that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about that more than anything. And then actually that kind of adds to the decreased stress because,
Mhm.
when you're away from your loved ones longer than you want to be, that's
Mhm.
stressful too. So that's decreased stress is another thing that I'm really excited about. Being able to wake up on Saturday morning and make some French toast and eat on it all afternoon if I feel like it, and still got another day to relax if I wanted to. I'm just talking about being a lazy fat ass, but if I wanted to do that, I can do that. You know what I mean?
You
Like
could, yeah.
it's just that kind of thing. Just being able to have freedom. If I want to go to the park and if I were to run, yeah, I'm a run at some point. But just do some things. I feel like I'd be able to take more control of my personal life
Mm.
than having to worry about so much of the professional life running and dictating everything I do. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. So it sounds like this job is going to be much more flexible than always being mentally on
Mm,
as relates to the work in sales, car sales. Um,
yeah, I definitely feel so. I feel like it. I feel like
so
it's gonna be a lot less taxing. I'll say that, and
mhm,
that's all I could ask for, honestly.
mhm.
Hopefully,
You're new to it, and of course, anytime we enter in something new, it comes with the territory of training,
yeah,
getting to know things and learning different things, which can be scary.
yeah.
What's something that you have kind of been immersed to that could be seen as a challenge to someone else, but you're kind of looking forward to?
So I would say, honestly, I would say it's that whole starting over, meeting people new, and getting used to people. Like that whole meeting, like you go from doing something or working at a place to where you've been there for 10 years or something like that, and then you go into a new
Hmm.
place. Like your dynamic at that job is one way, and then it's a lot of anxiety having to go in and sometimes fit in, with the culture of a different place.
Hmm.
Because you're never really gonna know until you start, unless you open up your own business, and then with that, you have to worry about who you hire and if they really actually gonna be what I need them to be, or they gonna lie or be terrible. So, but as an entrepreneur, you have to be scared of that sometimes. But in this time, it's like I'm stepping into an environment, and you don't know if you're gonna have somebody that's a racist low key. You don't know if you're gonna have somebody that's snaking behind your back. You don't know if you're gonna have somebody that's jealous of. You don't know. It's just all kind of stuff like that. It's some people could dread that, meeting new people, fitting in. I don't feel. I'm excited about it, because I don't care what you say. As long as you don't cross the line and be open to disrespect, I don't care what you say to me. I'm cool. Like,
Hmm.
you know, oh, you from Mississippi, huh? They still got dirt roads down there, and y'all walk
Hmm.
barefoot. Yeah, sometimes. Anyway, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care, man. Shut up. I'm doing my job. You know what I mean? Even if that
Hmm.
I'm that way. I don't care.
Hmm.
Whatever, man. Just don't touch me.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So some people could be nervous about meeting new people. I feel like that's something I'm cool with. Like I'm usually good with anybody I meet. I don't think there's
Hmm.
too many people that just hate my guts when they meet me. So
Hmm.
um I'll give you one other thing. Something else, somebody learning the job. I think some people start a new job and they're terrified of actually learning their job, whether it be the computer system, whether it be the route they drive in, you know, and just
Yes.
learning the job. Sometimes people I hope I pick it up fast. I don't
Yes.
want to, I don't want nobody else to think I'm not qualified or I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Having that imposter syndrome.
Yes, like, yeah, I
Hmm.
got my degree in this and that, and then yeah, I got this certificate in this, but then I'm starting, and Cheryl over here been doing this low key for 15 years, and she should have been the manager, but she ain't. And now she's looking at me like you really ain't that, but you are, but you feel insecure. You don't
Hmm.
know, you trying to make it, and she just sabotaged you from behind. That's like a movie, ain't
It is. That's
it?
a you should write a
Anyway,
screenplay for that, Jared. That'd be
I'm
fun.
getting off track, but yeah,
All right.
it's that anxiety of learning the job and the imposter
Hmm.
syndrome and validating yourself, improving your learning the job. I'm not really concerned about learning the job. I feel like in my particular background, I've dealt with enough of these kind of situations. Because I'll say this: we forgot. I held my real estate license for at least about 7 years,
Hmm.
so I've had some experience in selling houses,
Hmm.
renovating houses and things like that. My dad had rent houses growing up too, so I was always around that kind of stuff. So when you are an adjuster, and especially in a home, you need to know what you're looking at sometimes, because people are going to try to do things to, hey, the tree fell on the house, and then I need this. Come on, y'all cover this. But then you have to see whether or not that damage actually happened from a tree. You got to know what it looks like, you know.
Mm.
And in the automobile industry, boom. People bring their cars in every day. I have to know what I'm looking at. If somebody got a front headlight bashed in and they want $20,000 for it, I need to know, hey, is this something? What kind of damage is this? Did this happen? Like, did you actually hit something in a parking lot, or did somebody hit you? Like, this is terrible. Like, look at this. This hanging off. No, you had to have done this. There's no way you backed into somebody going 4 miles an hour and did this to your bumper. I do that in the car business every day. And as an insurance adjuster, you have to kind of look at vehicles and know and what things cost to replace and you know how this damage could have possibly happened, using that kind of stuff. Those things are tangible that I can provide, that I'm confident in, and I'm not worried. Like, okay, I'll learn this system, I'll learn how to upload this document this way, but I'm not worried about learning that stuff. To me, it's just like insurance is, you know, the auto business is second cousin. You know, you don't see him often, but you see him enough to know we family. You know what I mean? So,
And it really sounds like your previous experiences have really kind of given you a self-awareness and a self-confidence to
shout out
take on.
pops.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out pops. You know.
That I mean, that's exactly what I'm hearing. That
Mm-hmm.
those influences, those earlier experiences, have really shaped you to be more self-aware and self-confident to things that most people would be
Yeah.
very fearful of. So I think that's something that needs to be highlighted, as you just kind of shared that.
Yeah.
So let's say you're talking to somebody who's probably in a space where you were as a car salesman, just kind of feeling that overwhelm and that stress. They want to go towards something else,
Yeah.
but maybe they haven't had that, you know, that's it moment.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that's in a similar space like that? Like, what type of advice would you give someone, anyone that's listening right now? What advice would you give them if they're in that space of wanting to get out of their current position, but just not having that drive to do it, so to speak?
You have to really you have to talk to yourself and sit down and be real with yourself. Like, who am I?
Mm.
You know, what am I? Am I this? Is this what's really making me happy? Or am I just doing this for the money? Am I just like, you know, do I function better in this corporate environment? Like, I need structure and discipline like in the military? Or do I like this high stress environment? Like,
Hmm.
it's so many different people in the car business. You have to damn near have to single out exactly what type of car salesman I'm talking to, because we all different. Like, I know I've worked with someone who has committed some serious crimes, and I've worked with someone who used to be in government. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's like,
Hmm.
these people have different motivations, obviously, different mindsets. But in general, I'll say this: somebody in the car business that's doubting themselves and wondering if there's more money. And I'm sure a lot of us already know this. So, you know,
Hmm.
a lot of us know this. It's a choice at this point. But what I would say to these guys is, or that guy is, know that you're better than what you're doing
Mm.
as far as emotionally and spiritually. Know that you're better than that. Know that you don't completely buy into this, that you are not the bad guy.
Hmm.
Because in a lot of ways, you in the car business, if you're successful, you have to be the bad guy. But know that in your heart, I'm playing a bad guy. I'm not really a bad guy.
Hmm.
And you can make a transition into something else a lot easier. It's a little scary, but for some of us, we already know that money ain't guaranteed every month.
Hmm.
Some of us are fortunate enough to have things work out to where, you know, they make $20,000 a month damn near every month. For the majority of us out there, it don't happen.
Hmm.
So you have to know in your heart that I'm just playing this role and I can be something better. I can be something different. I
Hmm.
don't have to I don't have to hustle like this in order to make the money. I know that I can make it in other ways. Believe that in yourself. And
Hmm.
if you do, you can make a transition. You cannot be scared to do better. If better in your eyes is leaving the car business, do not hesitate. For anybody.
For anybody, right? Not just in a car salesman position. Anybody, if you're feeling that way.
And I'll say this, I regret hesitating myself. I'm not talking from somebody that did it. And no, I hesitated for a long time and I regret it. I regret it. You know,
Yeah.
but I'm still happy I'm doing it. But shit, if I could just don't hesitate, I would have got out maybe 6, 7 years ago. If
Wow.
I'm serious, bro. I would.
Wow. Well, I know how that has to feel. I've been in a space where I've regretted not doing something as well. But as I've told clients, I'm so glad that you shared your story. So thank you so much for sharing. But as I've told some clients that have been in similar situations, we all wake up every day. We all wake up every single day. We wake up, but we all wake up at different times.
Yeah.
And whatever time we woke up was the time we were supposed to wake up. So, in that same sense, this season that you're in right now, this was the time that you were supposed to enter into that season.
Yeah.
And that's something that I tell my clients as well. Like, whatever time that something is happening in your life, it was the time that it was supposed to happen. And it sounds as though everything worked accordingly for you to be where you are right now. And now you get to reap the benefits of being present and being in a completely different space. So I think that's amazing. One last question for you. What is one word that describes who you are?
I've been inspired. I'll say I've been inspired. I'm a person who has been inspired. Inspiration is the mother of invention, and I feel like reinventing myself. So if people look at me, I want them to say, that guy's inspired by something. Look at the way he's moving. He's not moving through this world like it's a job, like it's just, he's inspired. He's happily motivated. He is joyful about the journey he's about to take. I'm looking at Mount Everest like, man, it's gonna be so much fun. I might die, but hell, I might get to the top. So I'm inspired. I want people to know that this is what someone who is inspired might sound like. So pay attention.
That's awesome. Mr. Jared Wright, Brother Jared Wright, thank you so very much for joining us tonight and for sharing your story. As I said, when I thought about this particular topic, it just perfectly aligned to where you are right now in your season. And so I'm very grateful that you shared your story with me. I shared this with William. I'm going chronologically from the most recent to the first. I shared this with William. I shared this with Johnny, DJ Vision, and Joe. If I haven't said it, in a space before, I'm saying it for everybody to hear it on this platform. I'm extremely proud of you. I'm extremely proud of what you have accomplished and what you are continuing to accomplish. And just you sharing your journey tonight, I know has helped somebody else in their life. And so I'm very proud for you to share that with us tonight. So thank you so very much. And I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. I love you too, brother.
Thank you. Love you too. Absolutely. So as we end the show, let's end it off with some gratitude. What's something that you are grateful for today?
I'm grateful. I know this instantly. I'm grateful for my struggle. And that may sound like something that somebody else has said once before, but I mean, to the people that's been through it and know, it's like, damn, if I would have had it this way, easy like this, I'm scared of who I might be in the bad way. Like, I'm glad I had struggle in some areas because it made me feel like that nothing is certain. You have to take advantage of the times you have with people, the opportunities you get to succeed. It just really develops you from inside when you know that you've made it through a struggle and the struggle made you feel like, you know what, I can handle this again if it comes up. Without the struggle, I wouldn't be here.
Jared, I think for the first time, I am going to 100% agree with you on that for gratitude, my gratitude moment. I'm grateful for struggles.
Yeah.
They make us who we are and who we eventually are supposed to become. So
Yep.
I completely agree with you on that, man.
Yeah.
Thanks again for sharing your story with us tonight, Jared. And I thank you all for watching tonight. I hope that you all were inspired by Jared's story, as he is an inspiration for his word of affirmation. I hope that you were inspired by his journey and inspired also to take that leap in doing something that you really want to do and shedding out of that season of being outgrown and moving on to something bigger and better. I hope that you all join us next week as we just tackle another very important topic. And I hope that you all have a great rest of the evening. Have a great weekend.